Now, anything which is built on that, saying, oh, it's either the dictatorship or radical Islamist and a theocracy, and what is said about this is much more ideologically oriented than the reality of what is happening now, of a revolution coming from people on the ground saying, we want a change in our country and we want freedom.
Slavoj Zizek, you wrote about former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, who's now the Quartet's envoy, having a sort of fear of this process that was unfolding in the interviews that he's given. And he spoke about the fact that the West, as he defined it, needs to sort of manage the situation and the transition. He seemed to have a real serious fear of, as to what was happening. What do you make of that? Was he implying that the Egyptians or the Arabs are not worthy of democracy?
Well, of course, he wouldn't say this openly, publicly. But I think his message, if one can read between the lines, was quite unambiguous. You know that wonderful French proverb, plus que ça change, plus ça reste le même. The more it changes, the more it stays the same. So it's obviously that what Western powers, insofar as they were represented by Tony Blair, what they want was some changes which would basically enable the global situation to remain the same. Against this, I would like to emphasize, totally agreeing with what Tariq just said, one point. You know how often in our multicultural era, where we all are suspicious about universalism, we like to hear how democracy, as we understand it, is something specifically Western. You should understand different cultures, and so on and so on. But what affected me tremendously when I was not only looking at the general picture of Cairo, but listening to interviews with participants, protesters there, is how cheap, irrelevant all this multicultural talk becomes. There, where we are fighting a tyrant, we are all universalists. We are immediately solidary with each other. That's how you build universal solidarity, not with some stupid UNESCO multicultural respect. We respect your culture, you ours. It's the struggle for freedom. Here we have a direct proof, A, that freedom is universal, and B, especially a proof against that cynical idea somehow Muslim crowds prefer some kind of religiously fundamentalist dictatorship, whatever. No! What happened in Tunisia, what happens now in Egypt, it's precisely this universal revolution for dignity, human rights, economic justice. This is universalism at work. What we see daily in Egypt. One Egyptian protester said, I'm proud that I'm Egyptian. I am proud for them. They gave us the lesson against this falsely respectful but basically racist prejudices. You know, oh, Arabs have their specific culture, they cannot really get it. They got it. They understand democracy by doing what they are doing better than we do in the West, in Western Europe, with our anti-immigrant parties and so on and so on. So I'm proud for them. I mean, again, here is universalism. This is the best argument that you can see on TV against all that trash about clash of civilizations and so on and so on. The moment you fight tyranny, we are solidary. No clash of civilizations. We all know what we mean. No miscommunication here.
Tariq Ramadan